Thanks so much, Doug, and thanks to MediaPost for having me. The logistics team here is incredible, so I want to thank them all specifically. They've just made this such a seamless and easy experience. I appreciate that. So our company's Ministry of Supply, but before we get really into this presentation, which has a very long title, but is simply how do values and strategy coexist, I want to start with a quiz question here. So I am offering a $207 gift card to the person who gets closest to the question. Okay, so fun fact, everyone knows who this is. Abe Lincoln, number 16, was assassinated in a Brooks Brothers suit. Not really that fun of a fact, but a fact nonetheless. Brooks Brothers suit, you guys know roughly what year that was. I won't give anything away. So the gift card will go to the closest person who can tell me how old. Is anyone here from Brooks Brothers before I roast them? You are? Kind of. Okay, all right. It's a great brand. It changes everything. Doug, can I switch out my presentation? I think I've given this presentation like 10 times and never once has anyone from Brooks Brothers been in the audience, so you really throw me for a loop. Okay, so you can't answer then. That's the only rule here. How many years old is Brooks Brothers? Anyone? If you know the answer for sure, then don't guess. I'll come to you last then. You look too confident. What's your? Yeah. 130, okay. Rob? 207, that's an interesting guess. $1. 170. Mr. Confident over here, what do you got? No, he's gone. 209. All right, the correct answer for $207 gift card is 207. Rob Cruz. Nice work. Seeing through the noise there. I will find you later, Rob. Actually, I already have your email in my inbox, so I'll reply to the solicitation with a gift card. So here we go. So we're going to do this presentation, but I'll quickly tell you what Ministry of Supply does first. So when we look at kind of what fashion does and how things have changed, this is kind of the quick Google search on kind of what people are wearing, what athleisure looks like, right? All this kind of stuff. But then we Google the term man with sweat stains, and we get this guy who's like, stock photography here. He's been around for a while. And so we think about kind of this 207-year-old wonderful brand, Brooks Brothers, who's really established in a lot of ways what we think of as business casual. But really, fashion hasn't changed in such a long time. And so we think about, like, as my partner and I met 12 years ago, we were both engineering students. I was wearing Brooks Brothers every Monday morning to Thursday night on plane, and was wondering, like, what is fashion doing to solve this problem, right? I'm hacking hotel irons, and I don't know if anyone here has tried to find the iron in your room. Went to find the dry cleaners on every Sunday night, and they start to know you by name, and that's a bad habit. And so we're just kind of, what is fashion doing to solve this problem? Sweat stains and stiff fabric, stuff like that. And you look it up, like modern fashion show, and it's this, right? It's this is a little bit hyperbolic, but generally directionally, fashion has taken kind of a non-functional stance. And so for Ministry of Supply, we started the company now over 10 years ago, with the mission to take everything you love from your favorite athletic clothes, your gym clothes, your athleisure clothes, and bring it into more modern, everyday wear-to-work silhouettes. Things like blazers that are soft and stretchy and wonderful on stage. So before we kind of get into our kind of values meets strategy question here, I really like, Doug, you said something this morning that I liked. It was 3 words. I think you said proximity to merchant. And Doug's opening talk that I really liked a lot. And I think this kind of question is saying, well, how can we be sure that our values and strategy align if our values are just an echo chamber of our own brains? And so one of the things that was in the session description was talk is cheap. And I wanted to call it the talk is very much not cheap, right? So how do we align to our customers' values if we don't talk to them? So every single day from about 8 to 8:15 in the morning, I talk to 5 customers. Every single day for 4.5 years now. Every single morning, I talk to 5 customers via email. My partner does so once a day, but via video. And so the first thing I'd kind of come to here is, before we even talk about how values and strategy align, I would ask everybody here to kind of, and I loved this question earlier this morning on, like, what are the 2 or 3 things you can do? My one ask, if you're not doing it already, is don't trust your consumer insights department. Don't trust your friend of a friend who heard something from a customer. How could every single person in here talk to even one customer a week, but directly and personally? And it's something that we found was incredibly valuable, and it was really easy to set up, and I'm happy to talk people through how we set that up. Again, we're a much smaller company than many of you here, so I don't want to assume that it's as easy for everybody, but would highly, highly recommend that direct primary market research that is one-to-one. And so in this kind of question that comes up is so many times we think about values and how it's about, being part of your community or donating or sustainability, and how so often those can be in conflict with your strategy, right? What happens if you're making this choice between strategy and values? And so what I thought I'd do is share a couple of examples of what those customers have shared with us and asked of us what happens when that conflicts with our strategy. So I just prepped a couple examples that are very real and kind of shared with you how we made that choice between what they wanted, which was, our value is their value, but also what we want, which is a company strategy that yields routine and growing profit, right? So we can continue to invest in ourselves and grow the business. And so what happens when they conflict? Well, everyone always asks, what do these customers tell you when you talk to 5 customers there? They give me these big, brilliant ideas, these new technologies. They're giving me these monster insights. And I say half the emails are really boring, mundane, simple things like, give me a size 33 waist, right? So I think we kind of expect these massive, huge insights that are going to be game changing and strategy shifting. And so many times over a couple of years, I was getting this question of like, yeah, just give me a length. I just don't want to hem my pants. It's a huge hassle. These are not wild, huge insights. These are kind of tiny, minuscule things, but it conflicts directly with our company strategy of saying, well, how do we reduce inventory on hand? Everybody in here went through a supply chain bullwhip. I'm sure I'm seeing some nodding heads. Everybody's suffered through that over the last few years. We can't hold more inventory. What happens when we can, actually, I picked a good screenshot here that almost everything's stocked in on the right versus on the left, everything's stocked out. What happened when we made this shift and we said, all right, let's give it a shot, right? So test. Let's see what happens when we switch one of our pants. One of our men's pants, actually the one I'm wearing right now. This is a 33-30, one of our new sizes. And it was incredible. It turns out that instead of this being a conflict that we thought where we value, we as a company strategy want low IOH, high sell-through. Our customer wants precision. They want fit. They want options. And what ended up happening was this amazing cycle over time. Now, this is not this inventory on hand reduction number is specifically limited to the styles where we piloted this. So it was not overall inventory on hand dropped 42%. But what happened was that sell-through increased dramatically, and inventory on hand as a result actually came down. So this huge constraint we had of we're going to hold too much inventory if we start to stock all these sizes in. Actually, quite the opposite happened, was that when we shared our value and company strategy and actually merged the two, they didn't actually come in conflict. If anything, they went the other way. So bad first example that I'm giving you here where they conflicted, but actually they didn't at all. It was kind of a 1 + 1 = 3 type of thing. So I'll give you another example of where they definitely conflict. So here's a good one. We have this kind of feeling that if somebody can't afford clothing, we have to give it to them, right? That this is our duty as a brand, that if you can't afford our stuff, this sign is on the front of our Boston store, and very frequently someone will come in and say, I love this stuff, I can't afford it. And please test it. If you don't have to walk away with the stuff, but if you just want to test it, go in and try it out. And they will give you clothes for free without any questions. They won't confirm that you need them or not. They'll give you the clothes. On the left here is a full-page advertisement we took out in the New York Times. Actually, this was 2021, 22, and then I think we did it every year since. And this, if you can't read it, but it basically says if you need clothes, we'll give them to you. Just scan this QR code, apply. And I think this one, we had 1,100 applications. We filled like 98% that didn't seem like they were fraud. We do put like a free form question there to make sure people actually just spend a minute. But so what happens, right? We have to now give away 1,100 outfits, right? Or we on the screenshot on the right, Sarah's got to be giving away inventory that's on the floor. So we ran this ad in the New York Times, and it ended up being our single highest sales day ever. So it turned out that by listening to our customers and listening to our own values of what happens when we take what we think is an important part of being our community and giving back to our community, that it actually didn't have a negative impact on our bottom line. It actually had quite the opposite, and in fact, an incredibly high impact. So customers thought more of the brand. As a result, they bought more, and as a result, we're able to donate more, right? So this incredible virtuous cycle happens. So again, example number 2, maybe another bad example of where conflict between strategy and values actually yields a 1 + 1 = 3. So let me give a better example here. So again, here we have this conflict between our value of durability and also our desire to sell a lot of stuff, right? So anyone want to take a guess on the number of ways? I don't have a gift card for this one. Actually, I do have a gift card, but I won't tell you. It's a $100 gift card. That means nothing. That's not the answer, I promise this time. These are much more fun if I give out gift cards. So, okay, the number of times that the average fast fashion garment is worn before it ends up completely unusable, meaning no secondhand, no third usage of it. Anyone want to take we got a guess here? 5's a good guess. 3, wow, you guys are sad. 2, my goodness. I heard the right answer here somewhere. 7, that's great. You have ChatGPT out? No. That was up here? That's great. That's the right answer. 7, according to ChatGPT, which who knows? So that seems incredibly wild. But the upside is that once you're on number 8, it's time to buy more stuff, right? So there's this brand value of let's sell more stuff, right? If this stuff's not durable, people love it the first time they wear it, the first time they wash it. But by number 7, this thing's falling apart. But they fall in love with it, so they need to come back. What do we do? So we took our kind of sustainability stance and actually just turned it directly into a durability stance, right? Saying the longer this garment exists, the fewer garments that need to exist. And so we really doubled down on this idea that we felt really strongly that even if it meant it was bad for sales, we would go all in on durability. It turns out that this is actually the number one thing that creates word of mouth. So we have these constant testimonials, and it's a little bit of a softer outcome here. But where everybody says, if you want stuff that's going to last 5, 7, 10 years, it's them passing to their friends. And the second benefit we found is that the the customer lifetime value, which we measure over a year, so annual lifetime value, went up about 20 to 25%. Now, there's a little bit of a softness in there, and that was in pre-COVID into COVID. So there's a little bit of a gray area on your loyal customers naturally doubling down in a period like that. But we'll just call that, again, another bad example. This conflict ended up yielding another 1 + 1 = 3. I promise I've only got 2 more examples, so I'll stop in a second. This is my 4th example, and my favorite one is we were sold by this company. You can see their name right there, Treat, and I'll plug them because they do a wonderful job of maintaining our secondhand marketplace. So this is garments that are peer-to-peer sales. So you bought a ministry supply item. You ended up using it for 2 years, and you either changed weight, you changed jobs, you changed geographies, you changed style, you changed preferences. You don't want it anymore, but it's still got a lot of life left. What do you do with it? And so we had this company, Treat, saying, well, let them sell it to each other, and you take a little cut in the middle. That sounds great. But we said, but if that happens, then no one's going to buy the new stuff. They're just going to go to the resale site and buy used. But it turned out we could also, we could sell our own damaged returns. We could put those into the marketplace in what's called brand direct. And so as you might imagine, we have another trend here where it ended up being last year about 4.5% of our total contribution margin came from the resale program. That's a cut of the peer-to-peer sales, but more importantly, 60% of that was written down inventory that now got a life. It ended up on someone's shoulders, right? And that's a huge, huge win for us because now we save that thing from a landfill, but also that inventory was worth 0. So any sales dollars are 90 to 100% contribution. So again, once again, now you can kind of tell my shtick here, which is that all of these end up being 1 + 1 = 3, right? All of these end up where we initially think there's a conflict between strategy and values. It turns out there's not. So I'm going to stop talking here for a second. On the last one, I'll play a quick video. This is one of the everlasting conflicts that we have, which is how do we move away from one-to-many sales, right? So it's everything small, medium, large, waist sizes, dress sizes, things like that. And how do we move into the one-to-one world? Because we think that's better for the planet. It's lower obsolescence rate. It's better for the customer, better fit, better outcome. So we kind of think a lot about how do we get into one-to-one, but one-to-many is so much more scalable. So I'll play a quick video that is 1 minute and 20 seconds. It's our boss of the store here. She was actually the lead researcher, the one that was walking on also a model. Worked out well. That I love that video, and it's a really great. It's a collaboration we've been doing with MIT for I think 6 years now on trying to get that dress to where you could print it once and shape it infinitely. Does anyone want to guess what the outcome was with this kind of shift to a one-to-one approach? Any hollers from the audience? No, nothing. No, yeah, we have no idea. It was a trick question. This is conflict number 5, and it's one we're wrestling with right now, where it really financially does not make any sense to do what you just saw. And so we'll have to find a way for this story to end well and create another 1 + 1 = 3. Because as of now, if anyone has any ideas, bring them on. But as of now, it is infinitely unscalable. So what we want to do is figure out how to continue this pattern of when values and strategy conflict. How do we create a graceful marriage instead of a slice the pie approach? And so ultimately, that's kind of our goal here. And so our kind of central premise when we think about values and strategy and how can they coexist is that there's always a way to grow the pie. And the caveat there said, where's Kevin? We need a bigger TV here, Kevin. Our says from our experience. So it may not apply to everybody. I recognize this is a data point of one, and this has worked well for us, and we're startup and growing, but I do think that shift in mindset to talk to the customer and find that way to grow the pie is step one. So anyway, thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate all of your time.
All right, what questions do we have for Aman?
Hi, Melissa from ad.com. That was amazing. I could have watched that for like 30 minutes. It was like mesmerizing. So when I first thought of your brand, I thought of Vuori. Of course, you know what Vuori is. Do you guys have any?
Yeah.
Of course. Do you have any plans into expanding into that market? Because they are obviously huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I do know Vuori, and if you're buying their stuff, you should buy our stuff.
That's what I was like waiting for the athletic leisure clothing to come up. So
honestly, we're just not good at it, and there's no other way to say it other than like when we started this business, it was because we despise wearing business casual, and so all of our value is between the incumbent and our new normal, right? And the incumbent is pretty damn good in that segment, right? So I'd buy Vuori, but I don't buy it because it's so much better than Aloe or Lululemon, who I also love. I buy it because it's got a new, fun pattern that I like, and maybe a length of shorts. Where's Pat? That I appreciate more than anything. So we tried it in the pandemic. We made sweatpants, hoodies. We did everything we could to get through. But ultimately, we cannot find our way to create value above what already exists in the market today. And so, at best, it was a way for us to stay alive in the pandemic. At worst, we maybe soured a few people by thinking that we are an athletic brand, which we were very much not. It's a good question. I wish we were better at it because it gets a huge market and it's wonderful. But
exactly, it's amazing. Like I live in it outside of work.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. So yeah.
And my second question is, will you wear your blazer tomorrow? Because I would really like to see it.
Is that okay?
Okay,
approved?
Okay, John.
No undershirt, just the blazer.
Just the blazer. And unbuttoned or buttoned? Yeah, all right, good. All right. Yeah, we got approval. We're good.
That message is not condoned by anyone.
I'm actually going to borrow Doug's jacket here. I like that thing.
All right. What other questions do we have?
Some chatter about some political opinions that I was supposed to share earlier. No.
Hey, Ryan Zaber from Eddie Bauer and Brooks Brothers.
Nice. Okay. I do love both brands, actually, so I hope that didn't come across the right way.
Just wondering about the timeline you all give yourselves in making these big value-based decisions that seemingly upfront are big risks and gambles. What is that timeline to then prove out, yes, this is working for us? Or when do you make that decision? We need to pivot and go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
You know, we were talking this morning about TV, or sorry, about billboards and kind of IRL advertisements, and it was such a wonderful conversation we had this morning about like what does it look like to test on billboards? How much money we have to put? How long do we have to wait? And so I think the reality, unfortunately, is that I don't have a one size fits all answer to that question, but every single one of those was different. I remember when we launched with Treat, our resale program, it was instant. I mean, it was wildly obvious immediately that this massive accumulating pile of damaged returns went down to nothing, and then it was all of a sudden like, how do we get more damaged returns? Which is a terrible question to ask, but it was instant. You know, we knew it when the New York Times ad came out for the first time. We were kind of sitting there wondering what was going to happen, and it was instant, right? And so, but some of these I think are longer, bigger bets. I still don't know for sure that the like ongoing premise of giving away free clothes is actually good for business. I think it is, and I think it creates goodwill and a brand perception of nice, right? That's probably good for us to hold. But yeah, I think some of these, a couple of them that I didn't have perfect numbers on, but it's a little bit of a guttural. Like, I think this is good for us. So I don't know that there's a one size fits all answer. I wear a lot of Eddie Bauer. You don't hate me, okay?
All right. Any final questions? All right. Thank you,
Bye
Aman.
bye.